Hey everyone, it's Casey Rain from The Violet Reality here. I know that you guys haven't heard from us in a while. It's been a minute since we last uploaded a video. That is because there have been lots of things going on. Some of them are personal things, some are work things, and some of them are projects that I haven't been able to talk about yet. And some of those are things that you will hear about later in the year. One of them is something that you're going to hear about right now. I am co-producing a short film about Prince and Michael Jackson. And I'm so excited that we can share it with you. The reason that we're sharing it with you right now is because it's a Kickstarter-backed project, and the Kickstarter page is live right now. You can go into the description for this video and click through the link, read all about it, and see all of the various reward tiers available in exchange for you contributing and supporting this project and making it happen. We can't make this project without the support. That's exactly why we've gone to Kickstarter, because we're doing this for the fans and by the fans. So we're going to talk right now with director, co-writer Bobby Huntley, who I'm working with on this project. Let me roll the video for you directly from the Kickstarter page. Here we go.
Hey everybody, my name is Bobby Huntley. I'm a writer, director, producer based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I've been a filmmaker since I was 10 years old. With that being said, there is one project that I would just love to make. Ooh, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm nervous. But I do have to say that I'm terrified. But I don't know about you, but for me as a creative, I move towards things that terrify me. But I'm really, truly passionate about this story. I feel like it needs to be told. And this is an amazing story, you guys. And it's based off of a true story. Not a lot of people know about it. That's why I wanted to be the first, if I may, to bring it to the public consciousness. So about 2-3 years ago, I was in Cannes screening a film of mine, and I came up with this idea. It's based on a true story about Michael Jackson and Prince. Now, I know historically, we, the fans, the critics, everybody has been pitting them against each other. How it's played out. I really feel it's played out. Really what this is just a fan-made thing for the fans, by the fans, a creative expression of our mutual love, respect, and admiration for both of them. This particular story is about a fateful night in early May of 1988. Now, Michael was in Minneapolis wrapping up some concerts. Prince backstage invited Michael back for a private meeting. In this private meeting / dinner, not a lot of details came out about this particular evening because it was just Michael and Prince for the first time. But here is where my creative licensing comes in. And I believe this is the first time that they got together one-on-one to actually get to know each other and break those walls down. This is just one night. I was heavily inspired by One Night in Miami, which of course tells the story of Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali right before he changed his name from Cassius Clay, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown. 4 of the most prominent men in sports, media, music, politics, and what a conversation would look like between them in one night. And this film, ladies and gentlemen, is called Royalty at the Park. You get it, because they're both royal and they're at Paisley Park. Y'all get that, right? Okay.
So there you have it. You heard from Bobby directly. Let's talk a little bit about it. I've got Bobby right here. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, what's going on?
All good, man. Glad to have you on the channel.
I'm so excited to be here. I've been waiting to get on your platform for so long, and now's the time. Let's get it.
There we go. As you know, we have a lot of Prince fans that follow our channel. I think we are at 25,000 subscribers on the channel right now. We made a very deliberate decision way back when we started this channel that although we knew we wanted to do a lot of Prince videos, we would try and shape the channel so that it wasn't exclusively Prince. Now, our balance has been mostly Prince because we started the channel not long before he passed. And then when he did, it's pretty much all we wanted to talk about for a long time. But we have made Michael videos as well. I think we also have some people from the MJ community that have been following our channel. And obviously they have heard me a few times on platforms like the MJ Cast or interacting with other people in the community like co-producers and co-writer Andy and Jay, both very well known in the MJ community as well. So let's talk about when you got the idea to do this project. How long were you sitting on it before you reached out to me?
Got it. So I think it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks out of nowhere. I've been a fan of both for definitely my entire life. I really dug into Prince from as I was entering year 12 in high school and going into college. That seems to be a lot of people's trajectory in terms of fandom. Going to film school, doing different projects, I would have a bit of Prince and a little Mike in there somewhere, whether it be in the mix of the sound or how I do my framing, the selections of the shots, characters, or costuming. They were always interwoven through a bit of my work. So at this point, I believe it was the summer of 2021, I was in Cannes screening a project, meeting everybody, and getting a whole international feel of I was hearing stories through different podcasts of this magical night when Michael Jackson and Prince, got a chance to really actually sit down and, have had a private conversation. And in my creative mind, looking at all of the different things that, we're now coming to know that they had several instances of being around each other for several years to different degrees of situations from going roller skating with Prince going roller skating with the family in the late 70s, early 80s to appearing in the crowds at different concerts and, of course, the famous James Brown concert situation and the bad duet situation and all of those things that we know and love. But in my mind, I felt like this was the first time that actually got a chance to connect and get to know each other without the management, the hangers-ons and the entourage where, there might be a feeling of I have to, peacock in this moment and try to show who's on top. So I felt like there was a story there that needed to be told. I was also inspired by One Night in Miami, which is about a story which involves Sam Cooke, Malcolm X, Jim Brown, and Muhammad Ali. And it's a fictional telling of an actual night about their friendship dealing with life in the times of segregation and civil rights and being at the top of their respective fields. I'm a huge Beatles fan. I was inspired by a movie I saw when I was really young. It was a VH1 original called Two of Us, and it was about the night where Paul McCartney and John Lennon, they're a bit of, dissension between them, but they just hung out one time in the mid 70s and, got a chance to talk about a lot of different things and get some things out. And that was expressed through a film, using the director's creative licensing. So I started, planting all that seeds in the summer of 2021. And here we are now. I'm so excited to finally get a chance to work actively with you, Casey, Andy, and Jay. We've all just kind of been around each other in the fan communities for several years, and like we're actually coming together and building something. And that's what I'm really excited about.
For anyone that doesn't know, myself, Bobby, Andy, and Jay, we were all part of the kind of small sub community of a community that would hang out on mostly on Prince.org, but also on some MJ message boards and various social networks. That the kind of sub community of people that equally love Prince and Michael, and so we were all
Equally,
very aware of each other. All having this like a Venn diagram, like being in the middle of this Venn diagram.
for
So
sure.
I think we were all very aligned on this.
The Prince org days, that was my first experience in the Prince world, and I got into Housequake forums a little bit later, but it was such an interesting world to just jump in and meet all the different characters of people. It was interesting to say the least. I'll just say that.
I think one thing that we want to get across to everybody that's watching, this really is our love letter to two icons equally. Like there's people in the Prince community that either not interested or don't know that much about Michael, and equally there's the same in the Michael community. I don't want anybody to think that we are coming from this from just either one of those perspectives. And that's not what this is. I think there's a group of people familiar with our passions and our work in this way that understand that, but I think we have to make that very clear. Hopefully, when you look at the Kickstarter page, the videos and the promo material we're putting out, that becomes obvious. So let's talk about why we decided to do Kickstarter for this.
Oof. I was trying desperately for 3 years up to this point to not go through the crowdfunding route. Typically, for all my other films, I've gone the way of private investors, and it's for a much lower budget, typically. A few thousand here, a few thousand there, just piece it together and make something. But with something of this caliber and the fans we have on both sides who are very protective of them as people, as a brand, as legends, it just requires so much from the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe, the props, the cars, the locations. So it just required so much from a financial perspective. I couldn't really get the financiers that I typically go to see the vision for the price tag that it requires to go this depth. To do a regular film project is pretty expensive, but to do a period piece, this film is based in 1988, pretty much triples your budget. And if you go back even further to the 50s, the 1920s, the 18, whatever, it gets even more astronomical in the price. So even though this is a short film, that in itself kind of like we were very strategic within our reasonings. Number one, we wanted to create something that the fans can enjoy, that we can get into film festivals. Hopefully, both the states can see merit in what we're doing and want to get behind us for a feature film version. And the best way to go about that is to create a short film.
I think one of the frustrating things has been we know that we want to do this now and that there are these massive upcoming projects coming out. You've got the Michael biopic, you've got this Prince Netflix series, which is kind of on hold right now, pending what happens with the estate. It feels like people would be coming to us for these kind of projects if those things were already out. But then it
Mhm.
also feels like you're following on from successful things that already happened. So it's a real tough place to be in. But I think Kickstarter makes sense because this is such a passionate love letter for these two fan bases that we're all part of both of them and that middle ground, like we were talking about. One thing I think people are going to be very interested in, let's talk about it. We did some auditions last year, some casting calls,
Oh,
and
yes.
auditions. Um,
Nationwide in the United States.
I was very impressed with some of the people we saw, and I think it's really hard to impress us in this in this
For sure.
it's the hardest thing. Like, I mean, 99% of things that have been made where somebody's playing Prince or somebody's playing Michael, we're just like, oh no, that's so tough. But there are good people out there. And I think that's what I got out of the process.
Yeah, and I was so thankful to have one of the best casting directors that has done a couple of major biopics. She agreed to come on board because she saw all the hard work I've been doing over the past several years. I told her the story. She's like, "Yes, whatever you need, let's go." I was so glad that we made the distinction of no, we're not going the way of impersonators. We want actual actors who are able to emote, embody, and just lose themselves in this role. We even went so far as to not let the actors know who they're actually playing. We used fake names, changed the information. So when that got sent out into the world, it just was like another film. Let's really focus on the talent and all the other things in terms of the physical aspects. Talent has to come first. And, the people that we chose, they really made us cry. They made us feel. And I think we're all going to be really pleased with what we're putting into this project for sure.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, from my perspective, I was really happy when you asked me to be part of this because I feel like I've been unconsciously, subconsciously making this thing for years already. I told you when we started discussing the treatment, oh, yeah, I interviewed this person that worked with Prince and they talked about this thing. And we're bringing all of that into the script using every bit of real life example of meetings that we know about or things Prince said about Michael, things Michael said about Prince that have been relayed to other people. We're bringing that all in. I think that is reflected so well in the script. I think people will love the script. They'll
And
love
I'm just so happy that you came on board because being attached to this gives so much credibility to it for all the hard work that you've done for the fandoms on both sides. And Andy, as well as Jay, it was really important for me to make sure that I had people from the community that the fans could trust. Because I was always there, but I'm in the background, I'm quiet, I'm focusing on films and trying to make things. I wasn't really in the forefront, but I knew I needed to just come out with some heavy hitters with me. So thank you for being a part of it.
Oh, of course, man. So one thing that I think we should discuss, the Venn diagram of people that equally love Michael and Prince. In terms of people that we're aware of and online that we know of, we think it's somewhat of a niche group, but at the same time, it's a project that could appeal to everyone. So
Everyone.
what would you say to people in the Prince community who haven't historically been interested in anything that relates to Michael and vice versa, people in the Michael community that really don't know all that much about Prince? What would you say to those groups of people to say this is something that you will love? Why should they be interested and support this?
Taking my director hat off and just from a humanity standpoint, I've personally always been intrigued by people who have reached a tremendous level of notoriety, power, respect, and accolades. What was going on behind the scenes? What were they dealing with on the day to day from family and friends and all these different things that happen to them from childhood and on? What is the recipe for success in creating a legend? So with that in mind, I think people all over the world have interest in both of these people. They're familiar with them, at least with the song or something attached to them. I think telling this story, which is very poignant, very humanizing, very hilarious. There's some hilarious moments in there too. Like it's very light in different ways. It just really gets you from the writing perspective. And then when we get a chance to produce it and film it, it will get you to see these two young men, very young, and all that they were dealing with professionally and personally. We all just love stories where it's two unlikely people getting together and finding similarities and a bond is established. So I think that is what will translate the most out of all of these, because you think Michael, Prince, all this stuff around them, but you don't think like, what's all of that stripped away? When it's just two people in a room having to figure out each other. Should I say this? Should I give this away? It's just an interesting dance. From an artistic and creative perspective, I think that will really appeal to people.
I agree. I agree totally. And I think we've all had these conversations where there are people on one side of the fence and they're just, then there's certain things that they're not getting. And a a lot of those fans can get very defensive. These conversations happen and they start getting very partisan, picking a side and defending. This is like some Prince is so much better than Michael. Michael's so much better than Prince, and all of us know we stay out of that conversation. This is a pointless conversation to have. Um,
Right.
but what I say to those people is, if you're a Michael fan and have some kind of chip on your shoulder about Prince, you have to still respect the fact that when Michael's making the follow up to the most successful album of all time, he's envisioning the title track of that follow up to be a duet with Prince. You can't ignore that level of respect. And you can't ignore the respect Prince had for Michael on the other side as well. Like, you know, we know all these stories. We've been through all these stories. You know, there's still stories coming out, right? There's still,
Okay.
Apollonia not that long ago saying that she was with Prince when, when they watched the Thriller video together, he was jumping around the room. He just loved it so much. All these stories prove what we've known and been saying for a long time, that these two guys recognized that each other were on the same level as them in terms of success and being at the peak. They've achieved things that nobody else in the industry has achieved at this point. Trying to correct that media driven misconception is a powerful driver for all of
Thank
us.
you for saying that, because that's all it is. It's just media driven crap.
I talked to Cynthia Horner, editor of Ride On magazine. Uh,
Hmm.
she was doing some kind of Q&A session that I was involved with a year or two ago. I had the opportunity to ask a question. I was like, where did this media Prince versus Michael thing come from? And she said, I made it up. She said, I did it to sell more magazines.
Exactly.
Somebody started it. And it's like, yeah, it was me. But I think the way that we correct this historically is by doing projects like this.
And that's why I really want the term for the fans, by the fans to be the center of this whole project, because we're at a time in history where we can create things of quality, of merit, of production value, and we can leave a little piece of something behind for the other fans to come after us to really enjoy. Now's the time to do it. If you're a fan and you've loved and invested in these artists and bought all these CDs and DVDs and tapes, why not share a piece of your love and appreciation for the other fans? So that's where we're coming from.
All right. I think we should wrap it there. To everyone watching, all of our subscribers, link to the Kickstarter is in the description of this video. Bobby, remind me how long this Kickstarter is running for.
It's running for, they said do it in around 30 days. So I picked 37, had the number 7 in there. We try to do a
There
little
we go.
something.
There we go.
And it's so important to stress, like with Kickstarter, when you donate, we don't receive anything until we hit our goal. If we don't hit our goal, nothing comes out of your account. So we need to make sure we hit our goal during the next few weeks. We really need your help. Thank you.
Yep. Any final words to everyone watching about this project?
Support the arts, support the independent filmmakers, and just keep being the light of love that I'm sure Michael and Prince wanted us to be. Support this film. We want to get it done, please.
Royalty at the park. Links there. Let's get those pledges in. Let's see if we can make this happen. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like on this video, leave us a comment. If you have any questions about the Kickstarter, you can comment on the Kickstarter page. You can comment on this video. You can hit me up privately. You can hit Bobby up privately. I'll put his links in the description as well. We are here to answer any and all questions about getting this incredible film made. And for anybody and everybody that does choose to support this project at whatever level, you have our complete gratitude. And we thank you so much. 37 days. Let's see if we can do it. Catch you later, everyone. Peace.